Here's our reflex arc. The nerve impulse is how information is conveyed along neurons caused by electrochemical changes. A nerve impulse occurs in 4 steps. The first one is called the resting potential. Now, in the reflex arc, let's zoom in onto a small segment of an axon. So here in this axon, there's a higher concentration of sodium ions outside the membrane and a higher concentration of potassium ions inside the membrane, as well as large negatively charged organic ions on the inside. Overall, what this creates is a negative electric potential on the inside of the axon compared to the outside, with a magnitude of negative 65 millivolts. Right now, it is ready to carry a nerve impulse. So now a stimulus has been detected by the sensory receptor, and a nerve impulse is traveling across the reflex arc. So, as we look into a small section of the axon, what occurs is that sodium gates open, and as these sodium gates open, sodium ions flow in to the axon. And this will create a net electric potential of positive 40 millivolts on the inside of the axon. Now we are at the step of repolarization. So when repolarization is here, what happens is that potassium gates will now open. And the potassium will flow out. And as the potassium flows out, this will change the electric potential from positive 40 to negative 65 millivolts inside of the membrane again. Now, as you've probably noticed, this seems to be exactly the same as the resting potential, except that the sodium and potassium ions have switched spots. So what will now happen is that the sodium-potassium pumps will now open, and they will transfer sodium out and potassium in. Unlike the gates from earlier, the pumps use active transport to transport the potassium ions and the sodium ions in and out. This period is called the refractory period and allows the nerve impulse to go back to its original position so it can be ready to send another nerve impulse. Now that the sodium ions and potassium ions have returned to their original concentrations inside and outside of the axon, the nerve is now ready to send another nerve impulse across the reflex arc, so that when another action occurs, it is ready.